The wind. Riding aboard the Grand Cipher, soaring across yet another cloud bank, I felt a pang of envy. The wind goes where it pleases, and it arrives when it may, a quality I have long sought to adapt to my fighting style. Here I stood in comparison, shackled to my duties as captain of a knightly order. Oft have I imagined the brighter futures I might have discovered, if only I were faster, more like the gale. Had I risen like a storm front, I could have prevented wars. Had I rushed like a squall, I could have circumvented tragedy. But as the wind continues flowing forward, so too does the passage of time. Idle ponderings would change nothing. I had exchanged my freedom for the greater good. Quietly, I repeated a promise I made long ago. Henceforth, I shall endeavor to combat adversity, so much as I can, for as long as I live. Happily, this hasn't been a hard course to follow, for it runs parallel to the path of the crew, gracious hosts and, on occasion, lively companions.
I want you to broaden your horizons for the betterment of our kingdom.
I now see the wisdom and kindness behind King Carl's decree. For it was my journey aboard the Grand Cipher that taught me how to cast control to the winds, to ride unbound and at the mercy of the gales. When I was a boy, my best friend's parents were killed by wyverns. After witnessing the depth of his grief, I decided I would become a knight. I would protect the kingdom from monsters and the tragedies they wrought. But there was one massive wall standing between me and my goal. It was not aptitude, for I had some talent with the sword, but the station of my birth. At that time, Fiendrock was a kingdom run by its aristocracy. Commoners were restricted to a life of labor, and the knightly orders were composed entirely of noble houses. Immediately I was rejected, told that I could offer my sweat to the crown, but not my blood, for it lacked the proper lineage. I was not deterred. Who was to say that our stone-walled villages could not breed warriors as well as our gold-gilded courts? I studied, I trained, and I worked harder than any man had ever worked to become a knight. In the end, my efforts bore fruit. Siegfried, who at the time was still in the service of the king, understood my plight and changed the course of history. He allowed me into the order of Black Dragon Knights. But uneasy rests the commoner with new acquired titles. The nobility would only be too eager to dismiss me over the slightest misstep and prevent the chivalrous orders from being contaminated by peasant filth. I could not fail. The weight of my people and the future of the kingdom spurred me. I had to become the perfect knight. My ascension was not easy. If given a choice, I might have chosen a different path. But when I had at last emerged from the crucible of trial and tragedy, I was a changed man. I was the captain of the White Dragon Knights. My mentor, Siegfried, was captain of the Black Dragon Knights. He once saved the kingdom by killing the dreaded dragon, Fafnir, and vouched for me when no other would. So when my friend and counselor was convicted of regicide, I felt betrayed. Siegfried's downfall thrust upon me the leadership of the newly dubbed White Dragon Knights, and I swore to bend all my power toward bringing him to justice. In hindsight, this anger was misplaced, foolish. There was no reason for Siegfried to assassinate the king. I should have deduced royal consort Isabella's hidden coup, long before turning on a man whom I knew to be steadfast and honorable. My mind trembled under the pressure of newfound responsibility. It howled and grieved for the loss of a beloved king. I know that this amounts to no more than an excuse. it was my flash judgment that drove me away from Siegfried when he needed me most. Had I been left to my own devices, the conspiracy may have never been brought to light. But I had Vayne and Percival at my side, and, though hunted by all the country, Siegfried himself infiltrated Isabella's cabal and alerted me to their treachery. I may owe the biggest debt, however, to the sky-faring captain, whose aid was instrumental in restoring peace to Fiendrock. After the dust had settled, His Majesty King Carl decreed that I explore other countries so I could gain experience befitting my new station. Thus, I became another crewmate aboard the Grand Cipher. Since then, I have visited various lands. I have seen myriad peoples and their responses to numerous threats. I have learned many things and gained many new teachers, and as they have given freely to me, someday I hope to give back to them. But there are yet countless leagues to travel, so on I sail across the skies, seeking the strength and wisdom necessary for a true leader. 𝐬𝐫𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐵𝐺𝐻 our battles against the Church of Avia and the pacification of many primals, it certainly felt like a lifetime. But now that things were a little quieter, we were content to return to our usual bread and butter, satisfying requests from locals. Though the crew was accustomed to quests of all sorts, one day there came a demand that left us puzzled.
Sorry for the confusion, folks. This request isn't for the whole crew. It's an escort mission for Lancelot, specifically.
Me? But why? There were few in this skydom who had even heard of my name. Curious, I asked about Hans, the man who had posted the quest.
Oh, you don't know him? Seems like he was real familiar with you. Anyways, he's a butler for the Lord of Grassguard.
I hesitated. There was nothing I could do that another crewmate couldn't accomplish just as well. Acknowledging a specific request for me felt discourteous in a way.
You're not at your fancy-ass court anymore, okay? On our ship, you don't have to worry about rubbing anyone's ego the wrong way. If you're interested in the job, just take it.
Though he may not have been tactful, 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫 was, as ever, a fount of wisdom. Very well, then. I shall hear what this Hans has to say.
It is a pleasure to meet you. I am Hans, butler to his lordship.
The next day, an elderly man ambled onto the Grand Cipher, leaning heavily on his cane. But looking into his eyes, I sensed deep wisdom and a sharp mind. The pleasure is mine. I am Lancelot, a Skyfarer. Forgive me for not accepting your request at once, but I would like more details before returning an answer.
Yes, well, his lordship 𝐬𝐿𝐿 is in need of an escort.
Hans explained. 𝐬𝐿𝐿 was a lord of Grassguard, and he was looking for a mythical sword passed down through his family for generations. So far, his search had led them to a snowy peak, but nearby monsters made the trip too dangerous to risk without protection. Does your lord not employ a personal guard?
He does, but as this quest is for personal gain, he believes that commanding their service would be an abuse of power. However, the lords of Grassguard have never been gifted in the martial arts, so if we head to the mountains without a decent sword arm, tragedy will surely befall us.
But what led you to seek my sword arm specifically?
Well, we knew we needed a highly experienced Skyfarer. The mission is dangerous, far too dangerous for any amateur. But perhaps more importantly, his lordship is quite the fan of yours, Sir Lancelot.
A fan? My voice cracked in surprise.
Yes, you are known as a knight exemplar, talented in both combat and scholarship. How fortunate that this very same Lancelot would come to our land and proffer his services.
Whatever accounts you've heard of me were surely exaggerated.
And so humble. Lord Llywelyn will be overjoyed when he hears that we've secured your aid. The Honorable Sir Lancelot to protect us. What could be better? So, will you accept?
Though this idolatry did not sit well with me, I could see no reason to refuse. From what I'd heard, Llywelyn seemed an honorable man. Besides, there was much a Lord of this 𝐃𝐨𝐽𝐻 could teach me. Very well. On behalf of our crew, I accept your request. Hans and Llywelyn were waiting for me at the foot of Mount 𝐦𝐻𝐫𝐽𝐻.
It is an honor and a privilege to meet you, Sir Lancelot of 𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸 introduce myself. I am Ludwig, Lord Protector of Grossgard.
Though his aura was imposing and befitting of a lord, he also felt courteous and down-to-earth. The honor is mine. Though I am now no more than a skyfarer, I swear to protect you and yours with my life, should it come to it.
Well, whatever your title, I am glad to have your aid.
Ludwig was beaming. Hans had told me of his excessive devotion, but it was another thing seeing it in person. I suddenly felt I wasn't quite sure how to conduct myself. Right. So you believe a family heirloom is hidden among these peaks?
Not the sword itself, but the first of a series of trials that shall reveal the blade in due time.
I see. And what is the first trial?
There's a record somewhere around here which should detail the whereabouts of the sword. A little game of my family's, if you will. But on second thought, perhaps a great knight such as yourself has nobler things to do than this frivolous treasure hunt in the snow. Yes, perhaps we had better call it...
My lord.
Hans was stern, more mentor than butler.
The ancestral trials are not frivolous. Each one holds an important meaning. Those same challenges taught your father how to reign. Skies rest his soul.
Yes, you're quite right. Forgive me, Hans. So, with that settled, I shall count on you, Sir Lancelot, to provide the muscle. For as you may know, I am sadly little more than a statesman.
I am yours to command. With that, I unsheathed my twin blades and started our quest. The white dragon unfurls its wings. Come. I'll go on ahead and make sure the path is secure. For your own safety, try not to stray.
Oh, do let me know if I can be of assistance.
My lord, let's leave the fighting to the professionals, shall we?
Oh, yes, of course. Well then, Sir Lancelot, do what you do best. The bridge is down! Now what will we do?
Let's search for another path. This mountain is vast. I doubt this is the only trail.
That looks like a way forward.
The footing seems a bit treacherous. Please watch your step.
God! Monsters!
Stay behind me. I'll deal with this. You're through. Away with you. Stay focused. I think that was the last of the monsters.
What glorious form, Sir Lancelot! It is a pleasure to watch you work.
If you're unhurt, my lord, we had better proceed.
Lots of these ranged cock-doodles. Do be careful, Sir Lancelot.
Don't worry. I'll close that distance in a heartbeat. Is this a dead end?
No. Look! A chest!
Wait, this monster.
Get behind me! A giant eyeball! I think I've read about this monster! 𝐻𝐸𝐫𝐤!
Correct. Our crew has faced it once before.
Ha! Such daring do, brave Lancelot!
On guard! Stay vigilant!
Terrifying beast! A single glance and I feel frozen solid!
We'll see which is colder. Its gaze or my frost.
Too bad for you!
You're finished! Wide open! Spare them nothing! I believe we're safe now. One blade for truth, one for honor.
Impressive! The Twin Fang prodigy does not disappoint.
Thank you, my lord. I hadn't done much during our climb, so the praise caught me unawares. Shall we check this chest? It could contain the record you seek.
Yes? Let's see what she's holding.
The young lord opened the box. A rather dry affair, as we already knew what to expect.
And here it is!
In his hands, he held a flaking tome, its pages warped and yellowed by age.
This takes me back. Once upon a winter, I sought out that very book with Ludwin's father.
And now it's been passed to me. But this...
As Ludwin flitted through the pages, his face twisted into expressions of greater and greater perplexity.
I can't read this at all! Is this some sort of code?
I suppressed the urge to take a glance myself. My duty was to protect, not translate. In the end, it was Hans who broke the silence.
If it pleases his lordship, shall I offer a hint?
Ludwin shook his head.
No, this is a trial that I must conquer myself. And on that note, I believe you are dismissed, Sir Lancelot. I thank you for your services today, and payment will be made forthwith.
Understood. If ever you need my help again, do not hesitate to call. Thus, my private escort mission ended without much fanfare. And yet, I had a feeling that our paths would cross once again. At least, I hoped that they would. There was something about Ludwin. His earnestness, perhaps, and his love for his comrades that resonated with me. My premonition proved correct.
His lordship finds himself in need of your assistance once more.
Hans's voice was almost apologetic. What troubles him?
You remember the record we found on our previous trek, don't you?
I nodded. The Lord of Grossgard was searching for a family heirloom, and this record detailed its whereabouts. However, the directions were written in code, which 𝐬𝐿 had yet to decipher.
He told me, and I quote, "Hans, don't you dare bother the charming and brave Lancelot over a mere trifle." But he hasn't made any headway on his own, and I've no doubt he's secretly yearning for your aid.
I looked at the butler with some confusion. Hans, I recall you saying you'd already completed the trial with 𝐬𝐿's father.
Indeed.
Then your assistance would be far more valuable than mine.
Come now, it is a butler's duty to serve his liege's best interests, and Lord 𝐬𝐿's shall be best served with my silence.
I suppose 𝐬𝐿 would never grow if Hans simply led him to the answers. Better that we pieced out the puzzle together. Very well. I accept your request.
I thank you on behalf of his lordship.
Now I was beginning to grasp at the deeper meaning behind these tests. Hans took me to Grassgard. As an artist's soul is mirrored in their brushstrokes, so too is a lord's character reflected in the state of their dominion. Everywhere, you could see 𝐬𝐿's gentle touch, from the full fields to the content faces of the farmers, to the laughter of children and adult alike that filled the air.
What do you think of our humble land?
I tore my eyes away from the bright orchards and turned to Hans. It's beautiful. It may not be large or bustling, but I've never been to such a peaceful dukedom.
I'm sure his lordship will be pleased to hear that assessment.
Suddenly, I found myself curious. Earlier, you said that the ancestral trials would teach 𝐬𝐿 how to rule. But judging from what I've seen here, he is already a capable lord. What more would you like him to learn? Hans smiled tenderly, as a grandfather might when speaking of a beloved grandchild.
I should have known an avid scholar like yourself would read between the lines. Make no mistake, 𝐬𝐿 is not a perfect leader yet, but it is not my place to discuss his flaws.
Then tell me this. Are his flaws related to his family's inability to fight?
Let us call it a starting thread, but the full tapestry is so much more.
I decided not to pry. I already had the information I needed to guide 𝐬𝐿 through his trial.
Sir Lancelot? I don't remember sending for you.
Of course, the Lord was surprised to see me. Although friendly, I was a rogue element in a world where this man had control of nearly everything. I have come at the request of Hans. He would like me to assist you in deciphering the tome.
I see. Hans does have a knack for meddling in his lord's affairs, but I welcome you all the same because, to tell the truth, I'm getting absolutely nowhere.
I smiled, despite myself. It was nice to meet a noble who wasn't spilling over with pride. Hans beckoned me to his desk, and I leaned over the old tome.
What do you make of it? This must be child's play for a famed warrior scholar.
He looked at me with expectant eyes. I'm sorry, but I can't decipher this. We will need to enlist the help of an expert. Expectation turned to astonishment.
Lancelot, though you fight like a storm, your mind is as clear as the stillest of ponds. I can't believe you'd need to ask for assistance.
Can't you? Every second I spend on the battlefield is a second away from the library. 𝐬𝐿 hesitated a while longer, but when I strode to the door and held it open for him, he sighed and relented. No one in either of our circles was well versed in ciphers, but that was a matter of small concern. I knew an information broker. 𝐸𝐵𝐻 put me in touch with a language scholar who delivered a key to us within a fortnight.
Well, I'll be. The clue was in the names of my ancestors.
𝐬𝐿 stood up behind his desk and stretched, and the lines of care and worry melted from his face. He must have had many sleepless nights poring over the withered pages of the tome alone.
Thank you, Sir Lancelot. I can finally read the damn thing. It's only a matter of time now until I find the sword.
It was my pleasure. I look forward to news of your success. But I already knew. Before the unearthing of the blade, Hans would come to visit me one last time. I was half right. It was not Hans, but 𝐬𝐿dwyn himself who showed up at our doorstep.
I deciphered the record, and I know where the sword is buried.
He was so excited he completely forwent pleasantries.
I know I should go alone, with Hans of course, but the tome says we must fly to Skyworm Valley, which is riddled with monsters. It's a terrible place for a lord to be made into dragon kibble.
I knew what he wanted me to say. Very well. Please, allow me to accompany you.
Really? Wonderful! I mean, only if you wish.
This must have been the flaw Hans was alluding to. 𝐬𝐿dwyn was afraid of his own power. He dreaded the responsibilities that came with leadership. The lords of Grossgard were not warriors and hadn't been for generations. They depended on their subjects for protection, but as I'd learned, 𝐬𝐿dwyn was loath to do so. Up until now, this has not posed a problem. Small skirmishes were all that troubled the peace of his dukedom. But what would happen should a great war march on his borders? Would his honor eventually spur him to the front lines? To death? The place of a lord and general is with the rear guard. There, they must order the battle and conduct diplomatic affairs. But it is hard, sitting and conversing in safety while your soldiers are risking their lives. As captain of the White Dragons, I knew this better than anyone. You feel as if every death is on your head. At last, I had come to fully understand 𝐬𝐿dwyn. If these trials, as Hans said, could help him come into his own, then I would do everything in my power to guide him to victory. The day arrived. 𝐬𝐿dwyn, Hans, myself, and a few more compatriots met outside of Skyworm Valley.
Lancelot, thank you for coming, but I wasn't aware there would be others with you. Who are these people?
He looked with wide eyes at the rest of the crew, whom he had never met before. I have heard terrible monsters lurk in these parts. Alone, I would not have been able to guarantee your safety. These are my crewmates, each one a warrior of great strength and honor.
Not that I don't appreciate their presence, but Sir Lancelot, surely a knight of your caliber could cut through these beasts with both hands tied behind your back.
Chance, my lord, is as unpredictable as the weather. A wise skyfarer prays for a gentle current, but prepares for a vicious storm. 𝐬𝐿dwyn nodded thoughtfully.
Very well. Best I leave the knighting to the knights.
We go into the Viper's Nest. Take care. Are you ready to begin the trial?
It's now or never. Let go.
Hey, look! The welcome squad!
Her attacks aren't working! Is this part of the trial?
Wait, I remember! The record said, a single link does not a chain make.
So, fighting one at a time won't work? Let's hit it all at once!
Very well. On Lancelot's mark.
Push forward! Destroy them!
It's working. In a very clever vein.
Siegfried called me clever.
Silence. If not for Lord 𝐬𝐿dwyn's counsel, you would have been lost.
You did it! You really did it!
Let's keep it up!
I only wish I'd have been of more use.
Don't worry about it! We've all got stuff we're good and bad at.
There is no shame in seeking help from others. It builds trust.
Yes, trust. That is all we ask from you, Lord 𝐬𝐿dwyn.
Looks like we've reached the second trial. There are so many spirits around.
The best fight in formation. This may be similar to the previous trial.
Very well. Bring the vanguard to me.
We're gonna be so in sync.
Ooh, wait. I'm about to see 4 legendary knights in battle at once.
It's my honor.
Set peepers to behold.
Attack! These blind attacks aren't working. We need to coordinate. Come now.
We're old brothers in arms.
Stay focused. Now, right away.
Let me out!
Great follow-through. You speak the truth.
It's over.
A little back
I'll
up!
follow you. Understood.
Stand and face me. Now that was...
You always have my aid.
Absolutely. I would fight alongside you 1,000 times over.
On me. Too smart. Give me.
I need backup!
I'll handle this.
Very
Of
bad.
course.
Let's keep it moving!
Of course.
Well, bold of you to order me.
Away with
Let's
focus.
go!
You're mine.
That's it for the second
I
trial.
love your work!
Too easy, Lancelot?
Not at all.
Do you feel
Only
we
made
could
smooth
improve our
progress
synergy?
thanks to the team.
We fought alongside each other for years. This was nothing.
What is that thing? It's huge!
𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜 is a dead soul, given form by evil spirits.
The dead? I never signed up to fight the dead! Retreat! Everyone! Retreat!
Remain calm. We can handle it.
Can't know that for sure! The stars above, if anything were to happen, you would be my weakness!
My Lord Ludwig, I ask that you listen to Lancelot. Place your trust in us.
No despair team! A kick-butt quartet! We got this!
Just like always.
Towards the finger.
Bang! Yes, sir!
For glory. Absolute zero.
With our powers combined, no force can stop us.
Stay vigilant.
Oh, I can't get up close and personal with them?
Very well. Lancelot believes in this team. So shall I.
Stay there, no
Cover me!
I'm here for
Let's
you.
do this!
Understood.
I need backup!
I'll handle it. Now.
With pleasure! You okay?
You did better than okay.
I'll take it from here. On go. Excuse me.
Quite the improvement.
Seize them!
They're finished.
You've met your match!
Well done. I shall never fail.
Stay focused. They're wide open.
I'll follow.
Proceed with caution.
Of course.
I shall light the way.
Upheld by fangs of gleaming ice. Honor will prevail. Percival.
No despair.
Your fate is sealed!
Frosted flame. Blue detonation. Great job. Stay focused!
On your toes, people!
Now is not the time to become a martyr.
Guiding light. Stay focused! We shall not fall!
Ready for white!
You're opening!
Time to end this!
That went as expected.
Help yourself to some justice! Victory!
Perfine drop! Swords of Venga!
Togetherness! Move detonation!
You took down all those monsters! That was crime!
Well, the chest awaits you, my lord. Open it and claim your prize.
Ah, yes! Of course.
One blade for truth, one for honor. After numerous trials, we arrived at last in front of a lone treasure chest.
If it hadn't been for your help, Sir Lancelot, I wouldn't have made it this far. I fear I won't ever be able to repay this debt.
There is no debt between us. But do not trouble yourself about me. Look now to your prize. With trembling hands, Llywelyn undid the clasps of the chest and lifted from it a sheathed sword.
The blade of my forebears. It's, lighter than I thought it would be.
Carefully, he drew forth the weapon.
What's the meaning of this? It's just a hilt!
Llywelyn was the very picture of distress. But I saw through the riddle at once. A sword with no blade. A weapon that could neither defend nor slay. It was a message left by the first lords of Grosgard for their scions. Gently, I cleared my throat. Perhaps, my lord, it was meant to be a hilt, and a hilt alone.
What? Why would my ancestors bequeath unto me a hunk of metal?
You will find the answer to this puzzle, as you have to all the others. Slowly, Llywelyn's grip on the blade relaxed, and he began to turn it over in his hands.
Fine. I'll give it a bit more thought.
Sir Lancelot, you really think his lordship will be able to figure it out?
On our way back, Hans fell in beside me to take whispered counsel. What does your heart tell you? You have been at his side all these years. Hans made no reply, but I saw the shadow pass from his face and a soft light come into his eyes. The third day after we had returned, Llywelyn came calling.
I've got it! The meaning behind our family heirloom!
With great reverence, he laid his hand on the hilt, which was sheathed at his hip.
At last, the pieces of the puzzle are gathered and the picture is whole. The tome in the mountains, the message in code, the chest guarded by monsters, and the sword without a blade.
Llywelyn laughed dryly.
Sir Lancelot, I love this land, passed down to me by my forebears. I love its gentle rills, its rolling hills, its honest laborers, and its noble warriors. I would do anything to keep them from harm.
But he could not fight his own battles. He spoke of one such conflict that occurred within his dukedom. He was forced to flee to safer grounds, while the blood of his people mingled with the dirt. The guilt ever gnawed at him, robbing him of his happiness and repose. In the midst of his troubles, Hans told him of a legendary blade. The young lord grew convinced that this sword would bestow upon him the strength he needed to protect his own.
I wanted to be everything for my people. A great warrior like you, and also a wise general, and a benevolent lord. But now I see that one person does not make a country. I am the hilt which guides the sword.
And the people are the blade, which are its strength, leader and follower. One is lost without the other. Emotion stirred within me, and I drew a trembling breath. My lord, we are more alike than you think. There was a time when I blamed myself every time I lost a knight. I tried to shoulder the burdens of my kingdom alone, thinking I was protecting everyone. But I was wrong, for my fall would have meant the ruin of all. Ludwin nodded.
You're right. I'm done tearing myself into pieces, trying to play 100 roles at once. My people are counting on me to guide them, and so I shall, with this sword.
He drew the hilt from its sheath. Look to your own duties, and trust your comrades to fulfill theirs. That is all we can do.
I won't ever forget this lesson, Sir Lancelot. I swear upon my ancestors that from this hour henceforth I shall dedicate myself to becoming the fair and wise lord that 𝐼𝐸𝐺 deserves.
The clouds of doubt were gone from Ludwin's eyes. He had found his path at last. And I had been reminded of something important. It was true that leadership and responsibility acted as shackles, but they were also anchors, providing safety and stability on a sea of uncertainty. Months later, word reached me concerning a Lord Ludwin of Gråsgård. It was said he had no great strength of arms, but his wit and will were edged sharper than steel. Under his rule, the people lived in peace, and their fields were ever gold. But the young lord never accepted praise for his deeds. He always spoke of the loyalty of his subjects and the wisdom of a foreign knight. It seems his idolatry of me still hasn't changed. But as Ludwin has grown into his title, perhaps I too should learn to bear my mantle with pride. I am Lancelot, captain of the White Dragons, and son of 𝐸𝐵𝐵𝐺.
I can no longer recall when I first met the captain. All I can say is our paths crossed in dark times, when nights were sleepless, and the wind whispered with insidious intent. 𝐸𝐵𝐺, my homeland, was crumbling from within, consumed by the weakness of her own people. I ventured abroad to seek help from our neighbors, but this rendered me blind to schemes hatched in the heart of our court. When I returned, the adders sprung, and I found myself falsely convicted of regicide. Disgraced, I fled the kingdom and wandered for a while in the pathless wild. Perhaps I would still be there, slowly fading into the shadow, had the crew of the Grand Cipher not come for me. The captain never once doubted my innocence, led me back to 𝐸𝐵𝐺 and cleared my name. My honor was restored. Thus concluded the greater part of my tale, but the Grand Cipher's myth was just beginning. I joined the crew to see this story unfurl. Our journey, like all great journeys, has passed through both sorrow and joy. We have traversed the wilds, crossed kingdoms forgotten, and met all sorts of folk. I've always found the meeting of people to be miraculous. Throughout the course of history and on into the future, there have been and will be at least as many people as stars in the sky. For any two souls to come together is as wondrous as looking up into the night and seeing your image set against the velvet and winking lights. Do not know if it was fate that brought me and the captain together, but I do know I will never meet such a person again. I intend to sail with the crew to whatever end, even to the bottom of the skies. In my youth, I was vain and headstrong. I shunned the company of others, hurting all who came near me. If I had continued on that path, it's likely I would have died alone, with no one to mourn my loss. But that was not to be. I was discovered by 𝐬𝐮𝐫, the former king of 𝐸𝐵𝐵𝐺, found, quite literally, by the side of the road. Though at that time, I slew monsters solely out of malice. His Majesty looked at my blade and saw what took life could also save it. He knighted me, and under his guidance, I learned about honor and friendship. I found meaning in existence. But in our world, love is inextricable from grief. New friends and brothers were lost. People that I trusted turned upon me. Loyalty had imbued me with pride. But now, it taught me desperation. Once, this desperation drove me to drink the blood of a dragon. This isn't to say that I regret becoming a knight. Lancelot, Vayne, Percival, the friendship of those three alone is worth any price. I learned the greatest lesson of all from them, that no matter how much is lost, we may always find hope in younger generations. They are what we must fight to defend. They are our purpose. To think all this was set into motion by a single meeting on the side of the road. As I grow older, it becomes clearer how much I owe to King 𝐬𝐮𝐫. But I shall never be able to thank him in person again. That is why I swore to repay him in the only way I know how, by dedicating what is left of my life to the future of his country. I know King 𝐬𝐮𝐫 would not want me to grieve overly much for him, but he turned me from a vagabond into the captain of the Black Dragon Knights. Under his rule, the base were ennobled, tall towers were raised, and withered fields burst forth into color. He might have done much more, had traitorous hands not cut his life short. The royal consul Isabella, covetous of his power, killed the king and smeared the guilt of it on me. Unable to prove my innocence, I was forced to flee the capital. For weeks, I was hunted by soldiers I had trained by my own hand, Lancelot foremost among them. My name was now reviled, scrubbed like a stain from the halls of honor. But this caused me little pain, for I never hungered after fame or titles. I served the crown because I loved my country, the same reason for which King 𝐬𝐮𝐫 wore it. Even as his body was broken and he lay on the threshold of death, he called only for the mending of 𝐸𝐵𝐺. I would not let our home waste away under the shadow of Isabella's ambition. I returned to the marches, where I dwelled in secret, gathering information. I worked alone, and even Lancelot was kept from my counsels. I did not tell him of my innocence, nor why I sought to cut out the now festering heart of our court. My silence was not due to a lack of trust. It would have been impossible for me to reach Lancelot unseen. Any attempt at communication would likely have ended with my arrest. But even had there been a clear path to Lancelot, I would have kept to myself. Lancelot was and is still young, and young minds are easily molded. If I was to leave the protection of the kingdom to him, I needed to be sure that he was more than just clay, that he had an uncorruptible, ironclad core. I needed to be sure he was not the type to blindly follow orders or emotions. He wavered, as we all do, but fortunately, he was not alone. He had the support of his childhood friend, 𝐬𝐻𝐵, and of the Grand Cypher's captain. They were his light and anchor, and with their help, Lancelot navigated the swirling tides of intrigue and arrived at the shores of truth. We were thus reunited, and together delivered 𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐿𝐴 from Isabella's clutches. I had fulfilled King Yosef's last wish, and Lancelot had come into his own. It was time for me to step down and place the country in the hands of the young. And so it was that I put the rolling hills and bright walls of my home behind me and embarked on a journey of discovery across the skies. 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐵 Grande, another new skydom where the clouds hid unfamiliar tales. My travels aboard the Grand Cypher have taken me to many far-flung places, where I have found that there is yet enchantment in this world. I've sought after magical seashells with the power to heal kingdoms. I've crossed blades with legendary warriors, and I've heard strains of alien music, which, though strange to my ears, still spoke to my heart. But no matter how far I roam, my thoughts are constantly with the country King Yosef left in my keeping. When we alight in a foreign land, I find myself drawn not to gardens or taverns, but to places of law and order. I am ever seeking new allies for 𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐿𝐴, and rooting out her enemies. It must seem like I have a mind of cold iron and steel, driven by thoughts of politics and war. And I have no excuse except to say, once a knight, always a knight. 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐵 Grande had almost fallen under the sway of Avia. Now, as its people rebuilt, I desired to learn whether their fortresses were stronger, and whether any dark shadows still haunted their streets.
What you doing, Siegfried?
Vern appeared at my shoulder one day as I was walking through Seed Hollow. I'm gathering intelligence. The dragon wrinkled his snout.
Man, you're a workaholic.
He wasn't incorrect. I did want to lay aside responsibility and stroll unburdened in the sun, but I couldn't rest easily when duty called.
Hey, what if I helped? 2 weeks are better than none.
Vern was indeed light and fast, but I found it easier to scout alone.
Ugh, come on. I know how to handle myself.
You certainly do. If anything, I felt that the captain, Lyria, and Vern were strong beyond their years. That they had been forced to grow up too fast. All right, Vern, be my guest.
Finally, something to do. Agent Vern is on the job.
Vern twirled deftly in the air.
So, what exactly is the job? What kind of intelligence you looking for?
It's a little abstract. I would like to learn about the values of this country. Why it was founded, for example, or what would cause its people to go to war. For nations with similar values are often quick allies, but nations with conflicting values find themselves enemies.
Yeah, I'm totally following.
Take 𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐿𝐴, for example. Our king and people stand for fellowship and peace. If we were to find out that the leaders of Seed Hollow, on the other hand, favored conquest and power, then we might expect trouble.
What kind of trouble are we talking here?
Don't worry. I gave Vern what I hoped was a reassuring smile. I am not here to conduct a coup. I only seek information to bring back to 𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸
Well, that's way above my pay grade. Aw, dude, I think something just happened over by the gate. I see a bunch of soldiers running that way.
With two flaps of his wings, Vern lifted himself higher into the air and hovered, squinting against the glare of the sun. 𝐶𝐸 military force. This may be worth looking into. Come.
Right behind you.
A group of onlookers had gathered by the gate, speaking in loud, excited voices.
A monster hunt, huh?
Let us follow them. We may learn something useful. Nothing is so revealing of a person's nature as their deeds in battle. We passed out of the stone city and trudged for a while among grass and dirt paths. Or rather, I did, while Vern rode the winds beside me. Suddenly, he let himself rise on an updraft.
Spotted them! They're going at it!
As he spoke, I became aware of distant cries and the clash of arms. Let's see here. I crept beneath the shadow of dappling leaves and up a small knoll for a better look.
I don't think they can win this thing!
The warriors of 𝐶𝐸 were many, and their faces grim with determination. And yet...
Ah! Captain, we can't hold out much longer!
Stand your ground! If these monsters get past us, it's the lives of your friends and family!
They were scattered, weak, and on the brink of disaster. Vern, I'm going to their aid. With that, I grasped the hilt of my sword and burst from the cover of the trees.
We gotta hold on!
They're moments away from annihilation. You must goblins, come and face me!
What the hell are you? Get out of here! Push through! No place for civilians!
With all due respect, you are not in a position to reject my aid. Focus on keeping yourself safe.
All right, fine. That sword of yours better not just be for show.
This is power!
How is he mowing down all these half-thieves? Enough! Be gone!
Push through! Captain, he's dancing circles around the half-beasts.
Yeah, I can see that. Stop gawking and tend to the wounded.
We're gonna make it.
Heads up! Got monsters coming in from above!
Break! This is power! Enough!
The next wave is coming. Quickly, get to safety.
Bad news. Goblin soldier marching this way.
There's no way he can handle that alone. Who's still got juice in them? Back into the fray!
No, stay put. We'll not be able to win with you as a burden.
Push through! Bear with!
You cleared them out!
We're all safe now.
I can't believe my eyes. Is that guy really human?
We could have handled them alone. You know we could have. Think of how hard we've trained.
The cry of the last monster faded to nothingness, and I sheathed my sword.
Oh, man! They're lucky we got here in the nick of time!
Danger averted, Vern drifted to my side.
Well met, Skyfarers.
The soldiers from 𝐮𝐷 gathered themselves and limped to form ranks. At their head, a man I believed was their captain stood, frowning at us.
You guys must be dying to thank us. I take payment in apples, by the way.
Vern wasn't quite reading the mood.
So you know your way around a sword. Great. We appreciate the help and all, but could you not interfere with official military business?
What?
We're professional soldiers. We can handle monsters without you swinging in to save the day.
Number one, that's a lie. Number two, what's with the attitude?
That's enough, Vern. The dragon looked ready to spout fire. Hoping to calm him, I caught him and held him in my arms. I'm sorry. We mean no disrespect. With a bow, I turned and left that shadowy glade. I did not relax my grip on Vern because I felt certain that if I let go, he would flip back and spit venom in the soldiers' faces.
What was wrong with them? They would have been toast without you.
Vern flew beside me, seething. We are strangers to this land. Those soldiers have a reputation to uphold.
Yeah, but doesn't it get you riled up when people are so rude?
I laughed. If rudeness were the worst foe we ever faced, we'd be lucky warriors indeed. In truth, I empathize with them. It is the duty of a soldier to fight. Incompetence on the battlefield is a matter of great shame. My unwanted assistance was salt in the wound.
I guess I could see that, but still.
Listen, no one was badly hurt. That is all that matters. I had trained many knights in my day. They had gone through their growing pains, and tasting defeat and humiliation. Yes, failure is bitter, but it is nourishment. And thus the knights learned and grew, each and every one of them, into powerful warriors. When it came to the finer points of warfare, the forces of 𝐮𝐷 were clumsy at best. But their sense of duty was unparalleled. Upon hearing rumors of danger, they had acted swiftly, marching without fear to the monster's den. And though they had been forced to the very cusp of annihilation, not a soldier had wavered or fled. Now, they too had drunk deeply of the medicine of defeat. I believe it would course through them like fire and bring them newfound strength. The forces of 𝐮𝐷 were capable of much, much more. I entered the warm wooden interior of my cabin on the Gran cipher, carrying an armful of books. I laid them on the desk, drew out a chair, and took a short trip through 𝐮𝐷's history. Unbroken peace. For 500 years after the ending of the war, violence had not troubled the skies of Zeca Grande. There were your usual skirmishes, of course, power-hungry rebels, etc., but nothing so big it had not been quickly sorted out and buried in the sands of time. However, 15 years ago, tragedy on Dali Island acted as a catalyst to the rise of Avia. Hitherto peaceful primals went on rampage, and hordes of monsters were drawn to the carnage. So that's why. I thought back to the disordered ranks of the forces of 𝐮𝐷. Peace had dulled their senses. They had forgotten how to handle swords and spears, forgotten how to manage monsters, each one vastly different in shape and movement. They need guidance. The people of 𝐶𝐸 seem to be gardeners, fond of orchards and good rich earth. They had no love of war, nor possessed the means for a great campaign. Unless a revolution were to completely reshape this country, I did not believe it would ever pose a threat to 𝐸𝐸𝐷𝐿. Its forces existed not to invade, but solely to defend. But now, they had not even the power to do that. 𝐶𝐸𝐿 soldiers were steadfast and honorable. I had seen that. But they no longer knew how to protect their land. I had come to admire the delicate flowers and many bowed trees that flourished in this clime, and did not wish to see them trampled under a monster's claw or an invader's boot. I could offer 𝐶𝐸𝐿's forces counsel, but I would have to tread carefully. After all, I was a foreigner, and a former captain of knights. One misstep, and I could forever sour the relations between 𝐶𝐸𝐿 and 𝐸𝐸𝐷𝐿. I will have to be discreet. I threw on my traveling cloak and arranged my pouch. Hearing no footfalls outside my room, I slipped through the door and padded softly down the corridor.
Oh, hey, Siegfried. You heading out?
Vern spotted me on the deck of the Grand Cipher. So much for stealing off unnoticed. I'm going for a walk.
On your tiptoes? No way, man. I bet you're going on another one of your secret missions.
Though small, Vern had inherited the legendary wisdom of the dragons. Guilty as charged. But the fewer people who know about it, the better. Can you keep this from the others?
Come on, Siegfried. We all know you won't yak for truth and honor and justice and all that. If you're gonna disappear, you should at least tell your captain. My butt'll understand.
I could find no objection. It seemed that all the adventures Vern had been on, all the grand and wondrous things he'd seen, had sharpened his insight. Yes, of course. You're right. I followed Vern to the captain's cabin. I have come to ask for permission to leave on a private mission. But I must warn you, if things go wrong, it could spell trouble for the crew. My throat was tight, light nerves, I supposed, and a touch of guilt. The captain did no more than smile and wish me a safe journey.
What'd you expect? We trust you.
Fortune truly had graced me with the best of companions. I strode through the gates of 𝐶𝐸𝐿.
So, what you gonna do here?
With a dragon on my tail. I would like to ask you the same question. Why did you follow me?
Curiosity. What's a cool knight like you always doing when he leaves the Grand Cipher?
Curiosity killed the lizard. But no matter. Vern and the captain had offered me their complete trust, so I could do the same in return. Besides, if anything were to happen, I'd be there to protect him. You're welcome to stay, but I am only visiting 𝐶𝐸𝐿's forces again to offer help if I may. Nothing of interest.
Sounds like something my bud would do. But I thought you were gonna leave them alone, to help them save face or whatever.
I was, but I realized that, in the end, the safety of the people is too heavy a price to pay for pride.
That's fair. No offense though, Siegfried. Your way with words is a little, special. So I'll just come along and do the talking.
20 minutes later, Vern and I were in the heart of 𝐶𝐸𝐿, watching its soldiers scurry about like mice. 500 years of peace has truly taken its toll. 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐫's forces had become only an army in name. In truth, the military affairs of the country were run by 𝐬𝐽𝐵, a civilian and information broker. Everyone took orders from him.
Dispatch from 𝐬𝐽𝐵. We got a lost child on our hands. Everyone, split up and search for the mother.
Yes, sir!
Man, you ever just get lost and have a whole army look for your mom?
Vern hovered by the branches of a tall oak, surveying the commotion with shining eyes. It is important to serve your people in times of concord as in times of strife, but I fear they have lost sight of their true duty. There is a saying, it is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Peace should never so lull a nation that its defenses are abandoned and its soldiers turned into clerks and errand boys.
Captain, new orders just came in. We're being sent to clear a horde of goblins camped right outside the city.
Now these errand boys faced hordes of monsters who had been roused by 𝐽𝐵's machinations. 500 years of stillness, nature, and peace, gone. All at the whim of a madwoman.
You hear that, troops? Prepare for battle! Drive those goblins away from our homes!
Yes, sir!
They sure got bark. Problem is, they ain't got bite.
Are you worried about them?
Aren't you? You saw them get their butts kicked into the next 𝐬𝐿Dom just a few days ago.
I did, but failure is the mother of success. I readjusted my gauntlet and shifted my sword on my back. This is a chance for them to grow. I'll make sure of it. Vern and I left 𝐬𝐿𝐵 and turned off the road, beating a straight path to the goblins' encampment through trees and underbrush. We arrived before the soldiers. In front of us, half hidden in the darkness of a cave, slinked the forms of dozens of goblins. Alone, goblins are not much of a threat. When they're allowed to form hordes,
Oh, I know all about those smart little suckers. They can plot stuff and coordinate and everything.
I smiled. Vern was as much of a veteran as I was.
So earlier, you sounded like you were gonna help these soldiers out. What exactly have you got planned?
As you know, all monsters are different and must be dealt with in different ways. We shall teach these tactics to the soldiers, but from the shadows. Plan rehearsed, Vern and I crept from the shade of the trees and into the mouth of the cave. Ready? Our mission awaits. We've got to break their formations. First, let's go for a frontal assault on the sentries.
The army from 𝐬𝐿𝐵 will be here any minute now! Hurry!
Don't worry. We won't even need a minute.
Bear with
We made it! Looks like the soldiers are still prepping for the fight.
Perfect. That gives us just enough time to thin down their main ranks.
More gobbles! Man, there's a lot of them!
Well, let's fix that, shall we?
Turn the tide!
Let our blades do the talk.
Your end is nigh! Push through! This is power! Be gone!
I can't believe they had so large a force. It's a good thing we came.
Taste defeat! Push through! This is power! Surrender!
Reinforcements! You've got this, Siegfried!
Your end is nigh!
can pick off what's left.
I think there are a few more goblins hidden, but likely not enough to reverse the tide. We had still better conduct a search, just to be safe. Let's go in deeper.
Look, it's a goblin soldier! And what are those? It's little sidekicks?
I don't think 𝐮𝐷 forces will be able to handle this. We should at least bring down the goblin soldier.
So leave all the small fry alone? Got it. Don't want to rob 𝐮𝐷's finest of a job. Watch out for the shooter!
Beat your dude! Push through! Too slow.
Take heart!
Watch out for the
Don't mistake mercy for right! Your end is nigh!
They're trying to hit you from far away!
This is power! You're finished! Try my blade!
Well, I think we're done here. The army from 𝐮𝐷 should be capable of handling the rest.
All right, let's head deeper in. Stay together and stay focused.
Aw, snap! Seems like they caught up. Let's hide!
Holy Bahamut! We did it!
The day is ours! Good work, troops!
Vern and I crouched behind a craggy boulder and watched as the soldiers strode about the battlefield. Not a goblin was left. The voices of the triumphant rose up and resonated about the high, cool walls of the cavern. All went well.
I guess, but those soldiers took a heck of a beating.
Vern perched himself on top of the boulder, head cocked to one side. They will continue to grow. They have experience now, and what's more, confidence. They will learn to keep their wits about them in battle, to observe the enemy and strategize.
If you're sure, there's something I've been wondering about, though, Siegfried. You didn't have to help these people. You're not even getting paid for this. So why go through the trouble?
I laughed softly. I think you already know the answer to that riddle. Because everything good in this world is worth protecting. Three days after the victory in the caves, Vern rushed into my cabin.
Dude, he's here! The captain of 𝐮𝐷's army is here!
Here, on the Grand Cipher. My eyebrows drew themselves together. I was quite certain we hadn't been seen.
Do you think he figured us out?
No, that shouldn't be possible. I had lived and worked in the shadows for many years. I knew how to remain invisible. Let us meet him in any case. It would be discourteous to turn him away.
Agreed. We're lots of things, but rude ain't one of them.
Vern led me to a spacious room on the Grand Cipher, where our guest sat perched on the edge of a comfortable chair, his hands upon his knees. He stood up quickly when we entered.
It's, been a while.
He wouldn't quite meet my eyes. As the young man swallowed rather loudly, I recalled his last words to me. We can handle monsters without you swinging in to save the day. It has. I still regret my actions in the forest. Is that what you've come to talk about?
No.
He shook his head vigorously.
I'm here to thank you. You saved my life and the lives of my comrades.
So, our presence had been noticed. I swept my cloak back in a deep bow. I apologize for interfering yet again.
Oh, no, please, stop with the apologies. You're just making me feel worse. Listen.
He explained. 3 days ago, 𝐶𝐸─ army had been called upon to drive back a horde of goblins. He had marched his company there with a heavy heart, expecting great losses. But to his surprise, when they emerged from the goblin den, they were not missing even a single soldier.
Goblins are intelligent. They post sentinels and form ranks, just like we do. Sword fighters and shield bearers in front, mages in back. Any battle with them should have been tough and bloody.
Yet these goblins had no set sentries, and their forces were meager and scattered. Even the large beast the goblins kept in reserve had been terribly weakened by the time 𝐶𝐸─'s forces reached it.
But what could have worn it out like that? A night of partying too hard? No. Someone had to have helped us, and luckily, I had an inkling who.
Now he raised his round, earnest face and looked straight at me.
There was this knight who'd saved my troops before. He wore jet black armor and carried a crimson sword.
Yeah, no way you'd forget that getup after seeing it once.
Vern peered down at my armor. It was matte black, so I could slip by in the night unseen. But I suppose outlined against the light of the sun, it cut quite a distinctive figure.
The rest really wasn't that difficult. Went with that description to a merchant who deals with a lot of foreign traffic, and learned about a former knight captain.
I see. Years away from the battlefield had dulled the army's swords. This I already knew. But now I realize it had allowed them to build rapport with their people, winning them trusted eyes and ears throughout their country.
If anyone should be apologizing, it's me.
Before I could stop him, he went down on one knee.
That day in the forest, I was frustrated and ashamed by the weakness of my troops. So I took it out on you. I'm sorry. You saved my soldiers not only once, but twice. And the second time around, you even made sure we learned from the experience. I really don't know how to make it up to you.
Vern and I looked at each other, surprised by the sincerity in his voice. Your kind words are more than enough, and your forgiveness. The young man opened his mouth, but I shook my head. Whatever the circumstances, I still trampled your pride underfoot.
What's pride when compared to life?
To speak the truth, I thought 𝐶𝐸─'s forces poorly trained and disorganized, from an outsider's perspective at least. By placing a hand beneath the man's elbow, I silently bid him rise. But I see now that you have strength and wisdom that was hidden to me. With you in command, I have no doubt your company will go on to accomplish great things.
That means a lot, coming from you.
He smiled, the tension melting from his frame.
But the fact remains that I let my soldiers get out of practice. You've helped me realize a lot these past few days, and I promise we'll train harder than ever, make up for lost time, and become the defenders this country deserves.
Good. Never stop believing in yourselves. 𝐶𝐸─ a land of gardeners who derive joy from the bounty of flora and the simplicity of peace. Though they were no longer the mightiest of warriors, they were by no means weak. No more than the wildflower, who holds aloft its petals in dry soil and through battering storms. And like wildflowers, they would continue to grow and flourish. Though 𝐶𝐸─ is a small country now, perhaps in time, it will rise to become a mighty nation. When that day comes, it surely will make a valuable ally for Fiendrock.
Hey, is it just me, or have we been getting less monster hunting missions recently?
We, as all Skyfarers, were used to shouldering the quests of greatest peril, as we've seen more combat than most standing armies. However, though Zega Grande was as plagued by monsters as ever, we'd had a quiet few days.
I think I can explain.
Lyria raised her hand, eager to impart valuable intelligence.
Apparently, 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐢's soldiers have been super on top of things lately. A monster appears, and before the Crew Alliance can even draft up a mission, they get in there and solve the problem.
Good for them, but less work for us means less jingle in our pockets.
Vern drifted to me from across the room, and positioning his snout by my ear, spoke in a whisper.
Guess they really got their act together, huh?
It would certainly seem so. I looked up at my small comrade in training. We exchanged a secret smile. Well done, troops. Well done.
Foul smell fills the air as my dissolving limbs grow black.
Protect the captain! Get him somewhere safe!
No, leave me. Run.
As long as you're alive, we can rebuild. We promised, didn't we? Our lives are in your hands.
You're not allowed to make this sacrifice for me. Please, save yourselves. I'll never forget the memory of that day. My conceit put us in that mess, but I was the only one who made it. After all the good times we shared, after all the pain, they would have to live on in my memory. Once I could pick myself back up again, I began to temper my body. I swore I'd never let the same tragedy repeat itself. It wasn't long before this husk became resilient, augmented and conditioned to withstand even lightning. I no longer felt physical pain, or much of anything at all. It was preferable that way. I could be a shield to protect others, to protect them from the same tragedy that befell my crew. Having lost my place in the world, I found a home in the society, and quickly became contractor to the seal weapon, 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞. My missions were simple: hunt primal beasts or exterminate the foe. I did my job so that I could keep people safe, to aid them in their time of need. But despite my best efforts, I still failed. I was powerless when Vern was kidnapped right in front of me. Worst of all, I could do nothing but watch as our hopeful new recruit was cut down. What good was I when I couldn't even protect a single one of my comrades? Maybe the real mistake was believing I could do good in the first place. I joined the society to protect others, which sounds noble on paper, but in reality, it was all for my own sake. I'm the reason that my old crew, my family, found an early grave. It was only right that I spend the rest of my meager life in atonement. At least, that's the excuse I told myself. In truth, another part of me was deluded into thinking I could free myself from the guilt, but only if I could change into another person. Turns out that being immune to physical torture does nothing to protect your heart from psychological torment. Speaking of mental suffering, not long after I joined the society, 𝐿SA assigned Zeta as my partner. The old me would have worked with her just fine, but too much had changed. Her blunt honesty rubbed me the wrong way. A man can only take so much random commentary before he goes insane. Even 𝐿SA called her Pupper, which was kinder than what I had in mind back in those days. But it was an apt name, considering all of her barking. I didn't care about forging a real partnership with Zeta. Every time we had a mission together, I just wanted to finish it as fast as possible. But it backfired. Whenever I pushed her away, she pushed back 10 times harder. She was determined to know me. I would have never admitted it out loud, but I was afraid. After all, the closer you are with someone, the harder it is to cope with their loss. As for why I joined the captain's crew, well, I had my reasons. The captain's father was awaiting our crew in 𝐬𝐿𝐵𝐿, and that meant duking it out with primals and gathering sky map pieces along the way. The captain was strong and humble, had a knack for overcoming hardship. With leadership like that, I knew this crew could actually make it. That's not to say they were running a flawless operation. The way I saw it, they had two big problems. Vern and Lyria, the Red Dragon and the Girl in Blue. It's true they were core members of the crew, but they possessed powers which could represent grave consequences for the skies. Should one overflow with astral energy, or the other absorb enough primal power, they would be erased and herald the destruction of everything as we know it. It was possible the captain could reach 𝐬𝐿𝐵𝐿 without any sacrifices, but I wasn't the type to bet on fate. These kids needed a shield. This body of mine would protect them all, no matter what came to pass. At least, that's what I intended. During the fight against the Moon Dwellers, I lost myself to the atomic god Granbl's power and raised my scythe against the crew. As pathetic as it was, I became the very threat I swore to protect them from. That was why I prepared a way to stop my own heart. I wouldn't hurt my comrades again. If I couldn't protect anyone, then the least I could do was make sure I could do no more harm.
What are you playing at, Vaseraga? Is this your penance after what happened to Lester?
I was fine with sacrificing myself, as long as I could save someone else. A part of me even believed I deserved such a fate.
I hate when you act alone. You could have come to me for help first, you know? We're partners, damn it!
I couldn't feel pain, but somewhere inside I felt like a wound had split me in two. It took me far too long to realize that it hurt my comrades to see me suffering, that I had chosen to run instead of face my fears.
Did you hear me, you big lug? You're not gonna drop dead on us. Not on my watch.
My partner's instincts were sharp enough to cut right through me. But it was her words, honest and blunt, which shattered the walls around my cowardly heart. The pain I should have dealt with a long time ago came spilling out, but this time it was accompanied by a burning desire. We're going to survive this, together. And that's the way it's been ever since. Early in the morning, before the crew was to head out for a request, I headed to the forest surrounding Folka to conduct a test on Grinoth. On the way, I was stopped by the sight of a young girl watering the vegetable garden by her home, the wet plants sparkling beneath the morning sun. But something felt off about the scene. In contrast to the bright garden, a dark, foul mist seemed to surround the girl. Upon noticing me, she scrambled back into her house. The miasma clung to her as she fled. Sorry, lass. Shouldn't have snuck up on you like that. But that odd mist looked too real to be an illusion, and yet it didn't seem to be doing any harm. I decided to keep an eye out. After all, Folka was bustling with the influx of refugees from 𝐸𝐵𝐿. And there was no telling what could happen in strange times such as these. Grinoth ripped through the silence of the forest. As I lowered the scythe, the quiet returned. It was a perfect place for tuning the weapon. At least, it would have been had I not sensed the presence of someone watching. Whoever it was, they had yet to strike, so I assumed they were no threat. Perhaps they were one of Folka's residents. I know you're there. State your business. Turning around, I saw the familiar face of the mist-shrouded girl.
That black armor. Your big scythe.
Her expression was blank, completely devoid of the cheer she had while watering her garden. Eventually, she spoke as tears welled in her eyes.
I'm tired, Mr. Reaper. You can take me away now.
The floodgates broke, a steady stream cascading down her cheeks. Mr. Reaper? What are you talking about?
I only wanted to grow those little ones, but everything I do hurts them. They all rot away. All I do is cause pain.
The girl hung her head and grew silent. It was obvious she had given up on life. It was a feeling I was all too familiar with. Once you've steeled yourself for death, you start thinking there's no other way out. But before I could console her, a monster appeared from the brush and leapt at the girl. I felled it in a single blow, but she gasped at the grisly sight. Fear appeared in her eyes. Good. If she could still fear death, then she wasn't too far gone. Sorry to disappoint, but I'm no Reaper. Most I can manage is to bring you safely home. You'd rather not be monster kibble, right? Need to gather your thoughts? I get it. Life rarely gives us obvious choices.
Okay.
Keep close. Maybe it was just a trick of the light, but I saw a bit of life return to her gaze. I took a step back toward the village, ready to prove I was no Reaper of the afterlife. Time to go home. Should be this way. That didn't feel like an earthquake to me. Path's blocked by a boulder.
Weird. It wasn't here before.
Let's look around. Someone's hungry. Stand back. I'll take care of it. Battalions of fear! This is going to get ugly.
You should run. You're not worth risking your life for.
I said I'd bring you home. Besides, I've faced worse than this before. Try and stop me! The Reaper awaits.
You actually defeated that huge beast by yourself.
Good. You're not hurt. Now, what do we do about that boulder?
I know another way back. It'll take longer, but...
Fine by me. You take the lead.
Over here.
I feel eyes on us. We're not alone.
Zombies!
I've got them. Try and stop me! That's that. Ready to go?
Yeah. What is that? You look exactly like a Reaper.
I guess I'm no slouch with the scythe.
Into my way!
So, what's this whole obsession with death about? You don't have to answer, but just remember, once you die, that's it. Don't be so hasty to throw your life away.
Your just reward!
Are you sure you aren't a Reaper?
Even if I was, it's not your time yet. Not today. Upon arriving at the girl's home, I was met by a shocking sight. The thriving garden I'd seen before was now gray and withered, its fruits and vegetables rotting away. How could all the life have been sucked from this place in such a short span of time? When I looked at the girl, she purposefully avoided my gaze. I decided against questioning her for the moment. Whatever's going on, I might be able to help, but we can talk about that later. You should rest.
Okay.
She took an unsteady step through the door of her home. As I watched her go, I felt eyes on the back of my head. But when I turned around, no one was to be found. Yeah, I doubt I imagined that. I spent a few moments scanning the perimeter, but soon found nothing of concern. I decided to call it a day. Curious about the girl and her garden, I headed once more toward the forest on the outskirts of 𝐿𝐾𝐿.
I never had a chance to thank you for the other day.
Though she was more lively than before, her spirit was clearly drained.
I guess it feels wrong to call you Mr. Reaper now.
The name's Vaseraga. The girl introduced herself as 𝐸𝐮𝐻. As she spoke, I noticed her wrist was wrapped in a bandage. I asked if she was injured, but this caused her to grimace.
Oh, this? It's fine. I just, cut myself is all.
In a thinly veiled attempt to change the subject, 𝐸𝐻𝐻 offered me some juice made from homegrown fruit.
This is the least I can do to thank you. Do you want to drink some together?
Apple. Not bad. We sat at her table and began to chat. She told me that she hailed from Grassgard, a small region near Seed Hollow. Having just moved to 𝐿𝐾𝐿, she was still a new face to the locals. Do you take care of the garden by yourself?
Yes.
Tense. Holding in on herself like a withering flower, she became the complete opposite of the girl I watched happily watering her plants. But it was not her forlorn expression that gripped me. It was the mist. Ever her formless companion, a swirling miasma seemed just beyond her perception. There were far worse things in the skies than a little smoke, but I knew this was more than it seemed. Mind if I stop by again? I could visit between requests. I wanted to help her, but not out of a misguided sense of obligation. I just wanted to make sure she never forgot what it was like to smile.
Wow, these vegetables are very unique.
Yes, unique.
I brought Vern and Lyria with me in hopes of lifting 𝐸ℵ𝐸's spirits.
How do you make a tomato look like a shriveled bone? That's talent, I guess.
Vern was, for better or worse, brutally honest. Now, who did that remind me of?
Vern, don't be rude. It's fine, Lyria. He's not wrong.
Though she had every right to be offended, 𝐸ℵ𝐸 took the comment in stride. Our two most carefree members of the crew seemed to be rubbing off on her. Guess it was the right call to bring them. I'm not the best at brightening the mood.
So Vaseraga told us about your plan. You want them to grow big and healthy, but they keep withering, right? Yes.
After a moment of silence, Lyria gave 𝐸ℵ𝐸 a sympathetic smile, encouraging the girl to divulge her feelings. She began to perk up. Guess Zeta was right. It really is easier to share your worries with someone closer to your age.
Taking care of those little ones is my purpose in life.
She went on to recount how she had always been a loner. From a young age, her only friends were the plants she cared for. Recently, she had discovered that she could hear her plants talk, though she had no idea how or why.
But now, it's like my precious friends are fading away, one by one. I don't know how much more of this I can take.
Not long after she had gained the ability to communicate with her cherished plants, they suddenly began to wither and die one after another. She could hear them wail in agony as they reached their end. It was no surprise that she soon reached her breaking point.
A few are still alive, but I'm sure they'll join the others in no time. If this is all that's waiting for me in the future, then I would rather not live to see it.
Watching the lives of your loved ones slip out of your fingers? I could relate to that. What was she supposed to do? Distance herself from her reason for living? Wasn't that as good as dying? I eyed the black mist. Look, there's gotta be a way to fix things.
What? But I've tried everything.
Squeezing her bandaged wrist, 𝐸ℵ𝐸 looked up at me in confusion. I did my best to reassure her without betraying the worry gnawing at my mind. What happened here? I had stopped by 𝐸ℵ𝐸's garden after finishing a request, only to find every single leaf and stem had turned black and rotted. It felt unnatural, like something had completely sucked the life from what should have been a thriving patch of greenery. Filled with dread, I rushed inside the house, but 𝐸ℵ𝐸 was nowhere in sight. It was then that I noticed a letter on the floor.
To the blasphemer who betrayed Avia, you should know that Lady Lilith wished to bathe the skies in destruction. Have you not yet realized that clinging to life is folly? That living is a sacrilege to all we preach? You have two choices before you. Watch as that forbidden implement spreads darkness to all those innocent folk living around you, or return to Avia and repent.
So 𝐸ℵ𝐸 had ties to the Church of Avia, and they'd fitted her with some sort of cruel device. Reminded me of Lyria and the Mind Sealer. If they had hurt 𝐸ℵ𝐸 like they hurt Lyria... Damn. Thought I'd finally dealt with this pain. But there I was, failing to protect yet another innocent life. Brooding on it for too long wasn't going to bring 𝐸ℵ𝐸 back, so I left the house and scoured the town. Avia always had a flair for drama, but I detected no commotion in town. Which means, bastards snuck away in a ship. Knowing there were precious few minutes to trail them, I rushed to the port. The captain, who saw me rushing to the port, joined me in the chase. 𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐿, who was always in the right place at the right time, heard a rumor about an Aviath battleship sighting. We took after them immediately, driving the Grand Cipher as hard as we could to close the distance. Found you. After we crested a cloud bank, their ship came into view. In a contest of speed, a mere battleship was no match for the Grand Cipher. We soon pulled alongside our quarry and boarded their vessel.
I assume you're the draft that's been stalking our new shaman?
Let 𝐸ℐ𝐸 go.
I'm afraid that's out of the question.
The tension in the air grew palpable.
That device she wears incinerates life. For now, the dark flame only affects plants. But with a little more time, the shaman will consume all life in Zega Grande. Lady Lilith will have her salvation, one way or another.
You call that salvation? Maybe these fools didn't understand Lilith's true goals. Or maybe they were just bending the truth to satisfy their own cruel desires. Regardless, they were hazards that needed to be taken care of.
She shows remarkable compatibility with the Dark Flame. We will use her to fulfill Lady Lilith's wishes once and for all.
At the expense of 𝐸ℐ𝐸 and this skydom? Not on my watch. It's time someone put your schemes to rest. Grinoth, did you hear that? We've got work to do. Lend me your strength. Take them, Grinoth.
I offer my light for Lady Lilith!
For Lady Lilith!
These guys never know when to quit.
Call for reinforcements.
We stop them here!
Right.
Sure. Stay alert, everyone.
Way ahead of you.
Right. Focus up, Leo. Let's pick you up. Now or never.
I've got it.
Still wed to him.
Rackham, you pull up alongside them. We need to board and find 𝐸ℐ𝐸.
Of course! No kid is getting kidnapped on my watch.
Let's roll.
We're up.
How's this?
In perfect harmony.
Gigi, you did well too. Sure thing. Let's roll. Don't think so.
You will know. Let's end it.
Do the trick. Now. Look at you.
Blasphemous.
Rackham, do it.
I'm on it already. Come on, Grand Cipher. Hang in there. Damn it. We make it?
Thanks for the ride. I'll handle the rest. Let 𝐸ℐ𝐸 go.
The shaman shall be our salvation! Defend her to the end!
Is not to be trifled with.
I can always count on you. Follow it.
Well done. That was nothing.
You're the best. Let's dance.
Don't let your guard down.
I'm ready.
Get them! Step the landing, and I'll do it again! Let's roll. It's go time!
Let's end
You're
it.
going down! You can lead the pack any day.
Yep,
What did you
not
expect?
bad. I find you!
That was awesome, big guy!
Careful, more are coming.
It's too late to beg for mercy now, outsiders!
Our salvation will be as Lady Lilith foretold.
You even know what 𝐸ℐ𝐸 wishes for?
What? What would she know? The shaman has a duty to embody Lady Lilith's teachings.
Guess we gotta knock some sense into them the hard way. Let's roll.
Step up.
On my nerves. Let's dream on. Now or never.
Show no mercy. You can fuck
That's so scary.
Personally, I think you're far more terrifying.
Let's roll.
good. I've got it.
I'm so sorry, Lady Lilith. Accursed outsiders!
Vaseraga, did you come for me?
You're safe now. Let's get you home. By the time we carried 𝐸ℐ𝐸 back to the Grand Cipher, half of her body was shrouded in the dark mist. A sinister-looking device was clamped around her wrist, where the bandage had slipped off.
I don't advise using force to break it. That would put Lyria's life in danger.
I remembered what Roland said back on Mount Nagilith. Removing one of these implements by force could cost 𝐸ℐ𝐸 her life, but there was no time to search for another method.
Vaseraga, I'm sorry. I've caused you trouble again.
𝐸ℐ𝐸 weakly apologized, barely conscious.
It's okay. You can break the bracelet. My life is in your hands.
As long as you're alive, we can rebuild. We promised, didn't we? Our lives are in your hands.
I clenched Grinoth tighter. 𝐸ℐ𝐸 had already accepted her end, but I swore to protect them. I swore to protect them all! With my heartbeat thundering in my ears, I focused my entire being on the device. Grinoth and I became one as I swung down. We cut through the dark mist, and a burst of blinding light swallowed everything. After some time had passed, I stopped by 𝐸ℐ𝐸's home while out on a request. Well, well. A comforting and familiar sight greeted me. The garden was bursting with vegetation, much like the first time I saw it.
Vaseraga!
Standing amidst the greenery, 𝐸ℐ𝐸 waved at me with a smile. I should apologize. You can't hear your friends anymore because of what I did. She shook her head, her smile still present.
No, I shouldn't have let the church tempt me like that. I'm sorry for dragging you and your crew into my mess.
A hint of sorrow graced her features.
I can't hear these little ones anymore, that's true. But I can still tell what they want to say.
Is that right?
Yeah. Sometimes your heart just knows these things.
She turned to look up at the sky, a few tears sliding past her smile.
Like how I knew to reach out to you, even if I thought you were the Reaper. Thank you for saving me, Vaseraga.
Anyone would have done the same. With a careful shuffle, I turned away. A dainty garden was no place for an armor-clad warrior to stomp about. I'll see you around, 𝐸ℐ𝐸. I took one last look at the vibrant garden before heading back to the ship. The morning had barely begun when Zeta came barreling over with a package addressed to me. It was stuffed full of fruit, which only confused her further.
Huh? Aren't these folk a gold fruit? Lucky man! I heard their produce is all the rage these days.
Whoops. Guess I hadn't told Zeta about 𝐸ℐ𝐸 and her garden yet. Looks like the pantry is full. Help me carry these back to my room.
Sure, but this is kind of a lot for a midnight snack.
I figure being surrounded by a little more nature couldn't hurt.
Didn't take you for the crunchy type. Gonna grow your own orchard or what?
She was joking, but honestly, it didn't sound like such a bad idea. Ever had fresh apple juice before? I'll make you some, as thanks for helping me carry everything.
Wait a minute. You never put this much effort into treating me. Is this a trap?
A skilled gardener taught me a trick or two. Never hurts to practice a new recipe. The vibrant fruit told me how well 𝐼𝐸 was doing, much better than any letter could. Offering her garden a silent word of thanks, I was ready to enjoy its generous harvest.